Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn, and my channel's Making with Marilyn. Now I'm going to make some earrings today, and these are going to be made out of a cork fabric. So let's get started with the materials list. I have this cork fabric that I ordered off of Amazon, and I got all these sheets in that one package, and there are some really cute designs in here. A lot of geometric shapes, other patterns, florals, but I thought these were really cute. So today I'm going to make a pair of earrings out of this one, and then I'll make the other pair out of this print. Now, like usual, I will link to a lot of the things I'm using, so if you're interested in checking this out, then check the link below the video. Then the other things I'll be using are a small craft press. You could use any type of heat press, a mini press, a Cricut easy press. It really doesn't matter. You could even use your iron. Then you could cut these on whatever machine you like to cut with, but today I'm going to use my Cricut Joy. I have some scissors. These are a type of pliers. You really don't need this type of pliers. You may not even need pliers, but I'm going to use these. I have a Teflon sheet, some heat and bond, my Joy mat, and then this hardware that I'm going to use. It just has a clasp that you have to close down over your fabric. And so I'll show you that in just a little bit. Now I already know the size of the design that I'm going to make, so let's go ahead and get this ready. The first thing that I want to do is I want to attach 2 layers of this cork fabric together with heat and bond. This is very thin, and so it would just really look to me inexpensive, not very finished off if you just did 1 layer. So I'm going to put 2 layers back to back with heat and bond in the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to continue where that is cut right there. And then it only needs to be about 4 inches wide. That looks good. As long as it's large enough for the design, it doesn't have to be cut perfectly. Then what I do is I just fold it in 2. And then I just pull it tight with my scissors and cut. So now I have 2 that are basically the same size. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. So with the heat and bond, I'm going to cut it about the same size as this. Maybe slightly smaller, slightly larger. If it's larger, I'm going to trim it down because I don't want the heat and bond sticky to ooze out onto my press. So I'm just going to get a rough cut. Now with the heat and bond, there's this bubbly side and a smooth paper side. This bubbly side, it's shiny, that's the actual adhesive. So we're going to adhere this to one side of the material, then after it cools, pull the paper off, put the other side down. Let me just show you, that's going to be easier. All right, so you can see it almost covers the whole thing, but not quite. So I'm just going to sandwich this between either 2 pieces of Teflon, or in my case, I'm just folding this larger one over. Now my press really isn't very hot yet, it's only up to 170. I'm going to go ahead and put this under the press. If what you're using is really hot, then you could just do it for 2 seconds is what the instructions say. With my extra Teflon sheet in there, and this isn't up to temp yet, I'm going to do it quite a bit longer than that. All right, let's see if it adhered yet. And I would not recommend folding this over because it just doesn't want to stay. I'd use 2 pieces instead of folding it over. All right, plus it slid around. So it's a good thing I had Teflon on both sides. You don't want that sticky on your pressing mat. But once this cools down some, you can peel that paper off. And when you peel the paper off, it reveals the other side of the adhesive. So now we're just going to put this other piece right on top of that. Then get another piece of Teflon out this time. And I'm sliding that back under here. Now it says you press for 8 seconds. Again, my press isn't quite all the way up to temperature yet, and I have that Teflon sheet that the heat has to get through. So I'm going to do more like about 15 seconds. Okay, and that is bonded together nicely. Now, while this is cooling down, I'm going to go ahead and put this under the pressing mat so that it cools off really flat. You could put it under a book, you could put it under anything. I just want it to cool off and be flat. Then while that's cooling off, let's jump over to Cricut, make the design. It's just going to take a couple of minutes, and then we're ready to cut it out. Now the design for these earrings is going to be super easy, and I'm just doing it in Cricut Design Space because they are so simple. What I'm going to do is click right over here on Shapes. Then I want this square with kind of the rounded corners. So I'll click on it. Then I'm going to go ahead and unlock the proportions because I don't want it to be a square. So I click on that. I want my width to be 1.25 inches. And then I want my height to be, let's go 2.25. All right, so that's the basic shape right there. Now I also want to make the hole and see if I can get the Cricut Joy to cut it. So I click on the circle, and then I'm going to leave it locked, and I'm going to put it at 0.08. Now, so that I can see it, let's turn it red. And with this new update, something this small, it's hard to move. So here's what I'm going to do. For now, let's just put it back at 2 inches. Get it kind of over here, basically where I need it. Now, I'll go back to 0.08. All right, since I have a hard time moving that, I'll just move this instead. So when I'm figuring out where to put this circle, there's two things. How far do you want it from the top? And I'm going to blow this up so I can see it better. And I like to have more than this width above it. I'll tell you more what I mean in just a minute. Let me go ahead and move that up a little bit. All right, so this is 0.08. I want at least 0.08 above it, and I'd really like to have more than that. Looks like I need to move it back down just a little bit. Then the second thing is from side to side, I want it in the middle. So I selected both items. I say align and center horizontally. Then I could do one of two things. I could either slice that, or even if you leave it like that and you just attach it, it's still going to cut. So it really doesn't matter if you attach it or slice it, that's still going to get cut out. So after selecting the whole thing, I hit Command-C for copy, Command-V for paste, or you could just use the duplicate function, but I'm so used to those, that's what I do. So I'll say make it. Now let's cancel that and change the machine. I want my Cricut Joy. So once again, I'll say make it. I'm going to cut it on the mat. I'll confirm that. And I like to kind of move mine down, give my material a little bit more room to stick on the top in this left side. So I'll say continue. And then I'm going to search the word faux. I want to find the faux leather, and there it is. So I click on that. I'll say done. And then I do want to go ahead and change the pressure to more. Then I'm ready to load this up and cut. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up my little Cricut Joy and get my fabric out. It's nice and cool now. And then here's the Cricut Joy mat. Now you can see I have a decent amount of extra fabric on here. That's a little bit of a waste, but I did want to make sure I had plenty on there. And then my mat is not very sticky, so I'm going to really roll this on with my brayer. All right, let's go ahead and check that. Make sure the blade is clean. Now with the Joy, once it detects that there's material under there, it's going to pull this in by itself. So it was checking alignment, that kind of thing, and then on the computer, I just need to press the word go. Now the screen says complete, and I push the word unload. Now, if I were smart, I would have lifted up to see if it cut through before I took it out, because I could send it through again, but it looks like in my case it was a good cut. But I would recommend check the cut first. If it's good, unload it. If it's not, send it through for a second cut. All right. So the cut's nice. Now let's see about those little holes. If they didn't cut through, then I can use a punch set and just punch the hole out. But first I'm just going to try to push it through with my weeding tool. Ow. I got myself. All right, so that one came out. It did take a little bit of work, but it came out, and it came out cleanly. This time I won't have my finger under it. There we go. All right, it's barely attached, but it did release. And there's our earrings. So with this hardware, you have your little clasp that you just need to shut down over the hole. And let's see if I have a preference for the front or the back. And I like this side better. So I'm going to take that into consideration when I put this on. Now, a lot of the times you can just squeeze these shut with your fingers. After I've done a few of these, my fingers get really sore because you really have to press hard. And in that case, you could use some type of pliers. Now these have a plastic coating over them, so I know it's not going to scratch the metal. So I like to use these. And there we have one completed earring. And let's check again, see which side I like better for the front. Okay, start that over. I got confused when it fell out of the hole. All right, squeeze those down. My fingers are already hurting. Now I'd forgotten this trick. I learned that for me, the easiest way, if I wasn't just squeezing them with my fingers, was set your leather, whatever you're using, down over one side of that jaw, lay it on the table, and then you can take something and just press from the top. It's been so long since I made earrings, I forgot about that little trick. All right, I'll show you these, then I'll just do the other pair real quickly, and I'll show you both pairs at the end. Super fast, super cute, and just very easy to make. So if you want to make some of these for yourself, you want to sell them in a business, or you just want to make a lot of gifts for a very inexpensive price, I think this is a great little gift. Now on the second pair, I'm going to fast forward through a lot of it. But I do want to tell you a couple things that I left out when I was doing the first earring. Mainly that is what heat I have my heat press on. So I have my heat press set to 300 degrees. The instructions for the heat and bond said medium heat. I don't really know what that is. And so I'm just going with 300 degrees. This cork fabric can take that heat And so I'm not too concerned about it. Then the other thing is, this time I'm trying to conserve my cork fabric. Of course, now this is waste, or maybe I can use it on something else. So I'm not sure how much I'm conserving. But I'm going to go ahead, finish these out. And like I said earlier, I'll show you both pairs at the end. All right, y'all, here they are, and I love them. They are so cute. I think I even lined these up pretty well. I think that turned out nicely. So if you are interested in making some cork earrings, check out this cork fabric. And if you're using a different cork fabric, hopefully the settings I'm using are just a starting place. Everyone's machines are different, their blades are different, so be sure and do a test cut before you try cutting these. So thanks again for joining me, and until my next video, bye-bye.